Hello, today we're going to show you how to prepare cyclohexene from cyclohexanol using first reflux followed by distillation. So here you can see I've set up my reflux already. I've put my cyclohexanol in my flask in the fume cupboard and I've added 4 mils of phosphoric acid very slowly and I've swirled the flask to mix it. I've positioned the flask a few millimetres above the gauze. Can you see that? We won't be using a water bath today as shown in your instructions, but we'll be using this method instead. Next, I've fitted my condenser. I put my anti-bumping granules down the condenser and I've switched the condenser on at the tap. Remember to put the bottom hose onto the tap and have the top one securely in the sink. Next, I've lit my Bunsen and I've got it, I'll show you, on a very, very small flame. This needs to be heated very, very gently. If you pop it under your flask, you'll see in a minute that it's barely bubbling. That's what you want. If it begins to bubble too vigorously, just move the Bunsen out of the way. Can you see it's starting to bubble? It's quite difficult to see, but that's all you want to get the reaction going. So you're going to boil it gently like this for 15 minutes, and then you'll turn your Bunsen off and allow it to cool for a couple of minutes. Okay, I finished my refluxing and I've left it cooling for a couple of minutes. So now I'm going to set it up for distillation. So for this I need another pair of hands, so Shaffer's very kindly offered to come and help. You'll need to work in your pairs for this bit. So I'm going to gently remove the condenser. You can leave the tap running, but just make sure the tube stays in the sink. And I'm going to ask Shaffer to hold that out the way for a moment. Next, I'm going to put this piece in, which is called a still head. Put it into the top of the flask, and I'm going to attach the condenser. Now, while Shaffer holds that, I'm going to bring in another stand and another clamp to clamp the condenser. You need to position this so that the condenser is resting on the bottom prongs of the clamp, like so, before you tighten up the top one. Okay. Next, you're going to add a receiver to the end. Now these slip off very easily, so I'm going to put an elastic band around this a couple of times. And then when I put it on the end of the condenser, I'm going to fix the elastic band to one of the things on the clamps to hold it in place. Finally, you want a conical flask underneath that, and you may need to put the flask on a piece of wood to raise it up from the bench. Next, and finally, put a thermometer into a thermometer pocket. It's a little bit stiff. And you position this in the top of the still head and adjust it so that the bulb of the thermometer is in the junction on the still head. Can you see that? That way you'll be able to see what the temperature is of the cyclohexene as it comes over. Okay, next I'm going to light my Bunsen. Again, you want quite a low flame, but a blue flame. Pop that underneath and keep a close eye on your thermometer. You want to collect the cyclohexene as it comes over here and that will be evaporating between 70 and 90 degrees. So you keep an eye on this. If it starts to get too hot, pull the Bunsen away, but you can leave it under there until it gets up to that heat. Okay, it's now up to about 80 degrees, and if you look at your apparatus, as the cyclohexene evaporates, it will come through here into the condenser and will liquefy, pass down through the receiver and into the conical flask. If the mixture gets too hot, just pull the Bunsen away, like I have, wait for the temperature to go down, and then pop it back underneath. You don't want to go over 90 degrees by much if possible, because otherwise you start getting water and other things coming over. Just be patient and hopefully you'll get a reasonable yield. Okay, I'm going to turn off my Bunsen now. This has been going for about 15-20 minutes. Ideally, leave it as long as possible to get the best yield possible. But when you finish, turn off your gas. Allow the apparatus to cool, but you need to remove your flask from the end. Can you see the cyclohexene in there? And you want to cover it over as quickly as you can, because it really smells, with a piece of parafilm, like so. Then get a sticker, pop your names on it, and put this in the tray on the side, because you'll need it for next week.
Super.